You know that moment. The one where everything feels close, almost too close. Maybe you had the best date you've had in months. Maybe they opened up. Maybe they looked at you in that quiet, unguarded way that made you think, okay, this is real. And then the next day, the energy changes. Their texts get shorter, their voice gets flatter. The warmth cools off so fast it feels like you imagined the whole thing. And now you're staring at your phone, replaying every word. Did I come on too strong? Why do they feel so in one moment and so far the next? Do they actually want love? Or just the feeling of almost having it? Am I asking for too much? Am I the problem? Here's the truth most people never tell you. A fearful avoidant usually does not struggle because they feel too little. They struggle because closeness wakes up two opposite things at once: longing and alarm. So no, you're not crazy for feeling confused. And no, this does not automatically mean they're incapable of love. By the end of this video, you'll know the 6 real signs a fearful avoidant is actually ready for love. Not just attracted, not just intense, not just saying the right things, but genuinely becoming emotionally available in a way you can build a real relationship with. Let's get into it. Most people believe being ready for love means feeling a lot. Strong chemistry, deep conversations, missing you instantly, wanting you badly. But the real truth is that readiness for love has a lot less to do with intensity and a lot more to do with safety. That's the part most couples miss. Because when someone has a fearful avoidant attachment style, their nervous system is reading intimacy before their mind can explain it. So what looks like mixed signals on the surface is often a very old internal conflict underneath it. I want you close, colliding with close is dangerous. And if that conflict is still running the show, love doesn't disappear, it goes underground. That's why trying harder doesn't always help. More reassurance doesn't always help. More chemistry definitely doesn't help. Not more passion, not more overthinking, not one magical conversation at 2 a.m., but a person whose body is learning that connection does not have to cost them their freedom, their dignity, or their safety. And here's what changes everything. When a fearful avoidant is truly becoming ready for love, you stop judging them by how deeply they feel in the moment, and you start watching how they behave when intimacy activates them. That is where the truth lives. So, if you're wondering whether a fearful avoidant is actually ready for a real relationship, here are the 6 signs that matter most. 1. Consistency starts mattering more than chemistry. Here's the part no one talks about. Most couples confuse intensity with readiness. Most people in relationships see sparks, deep eye contact, late-night vulnerability, and instant emotional fusion and think, this has to mean something. But with fearful avoidant patterns, intensity can be real and still not be stable. In fact, sometimes the hottest connection is the least regulated one. The deeper truth is this. When a fearful avoidant is ready for love, they stop feeding the cycle that makes connection feel addictive and start building the kind that makes it feel safe. They no longer need the push-pull to feel alive. They stop disappearing after closeness just to regain control. They start becoming the same person on Tuesday that they were on Saturday. That matters. Because consistency is how safety is felt. It's how your nervous system learns, I don't have to brace for impact after every good moment. The disconnecting version sounds like this. That weekend was amazing. I just need to disappear for a few days and figure out what I feel. The connecting version sounds like this. I had a really good time with you, and closeness can still make me want to pull back sometimes, but I don't want to do that without saying it. That is different. Not butterflies, not obsession, not emotional whiplash, but steadiness after intimacy. And when you get that, the relationship stops feeling like a slot machine and starts feeling like somewhere your heart can finally exhale. 2. They can name their pattern while it's happening. And this is the one most couples never figure out. Most couples only talk about patterns after the damage is done, after the shutdown, after the canceled plans, after the cold tone, after the argument that somehow became about everything. But when a fearful avoidant is ready for love, self-awareness starts showing up in real time, not just in hindsight. That is huge. Because the deeper issue was never just distance. It was unconscious distance. Distance they could not name. Distance they defended. Distance they made feel like your fault. A person becoming emotionally available starts catching themselves earlier. They start recognizing, my nervous system is getting flooded before the wall goes all the way up. And honestly, that's one of the clearest signs of growth. Because when someone can say what's happening inside them, they are no longer fully trapped inside it. Their inner world is no longer a locked room. It becomes something you can stand beside them in. The disconnecting version sounds like this. You're overthinking. I'm fine. Stop making this a thing. The connecting version sounds like this. I can feel myself getting withdrawn right now. It's not because I don't care. It's because closeness and pressure hit my system fast, and I need a minute to stay present instead of shutting down. Do you hear the difference? In one version, you get blamed for noticing. In the other, you get let in. And when that happens, the walls between you start to come down without either of you having to force them. 3. Closeness no longer automatically triggers retreat. But here's what nobody explains. Most couples think if someone pulls away after intimacy, it means the intimacy wasn't real. But that's not always true. For fearful avoidant people, closeness can feel like standing in warm water while your body still thinks it's fire. The longing is real. The fear is real too. That's why this pattern is so confusing. A fearful avoidant who is not ready for love often experiences tenderness as exposure. A sweet weekend, a vulnerable conversation, a moment of real presence. And then their system quietly says, if I let this matter, I can lose it. If I need this, I can be hurt by it. So they create distance to get relief. But when they're ready for love, they start tolerating closeness without immediately punishing it. They may still get activated. They may still need a beat, but they no longer treat connection itself like the threat. That is an identity shift, not a communication hack, not a trick for keeping someone interested. This is what it looks like when someone is learning to love without abandoning themselves in the process. The disconnecting version sounds like this after a beautiful night together. That was a lot. I think we should slow down. And what's unspoken beneath the surface is, this feels too good, which means it could hurt too much. The connecting version sounds like this. Last night meant a lot to me. I can feel the urge to get weird and distant after closeness sometimes, but I want to stay with this instead of running from it. And somewhere inside you, your brain registers, they didn't disappear just because it became real. And that's the shift that turns intimacy from something fragile into something you can actually trust. 4. They can receive care without distrusting it. This is where it gets really interesting. Most people in relationships think love is mostly about giving, more reassurance, more patience, more understanding. But the real test of readiness is often receiving. Because for a fearful avoidant, support can feel strangely threatening if their history taught them that love comes with strings, disappointment, control, or withdrawal. So when you offer warmth, they may not just feel loved, they may feel exposed, suspicious, cornered. Like your kindness is the setup before the letdown. That is why some fearful avoidants seem moved by care one minute and uncomfortable with it the next. Their nervous system is asking, is this safe, or is this how I get trapped? But when they're ready for love, they begin receiving care without instantly devaluing it. They stop acting like every kind gesture has an ulterior motive. They stop minimizing what you offer because accepting it would mean admitting they need connection too. And that matters more than people realize. The disconnecting version sounds like this. You don't have to do all that. I'm good. Or worse, why are you being so nice? What do you want? The connecting version sounds like this. Thank you. Part of me still doesn't know what to do when someone shows up for me like this, but I'm trying not to push it away. That line is gold. Because what's moving through their inner world is, maybe care doesn't always come with a cost. And when someone can finally receive love without flinching from it, that's when your presence stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like home. 5. They repair after conflict instead of disappearing into silence. Here's the part that separates chemistry from capacity. Most couples are not destroyed by conflict itself. They're destroyed by what happens after it. The coldness, the defensiveness, the days of distance, the unspoken punishment. For fearful avoidant patterns, conflict can hit the nervous system like a smoke detector that cannot tell the difference between disappointment and danger. It just sounds the alarm. So when tension rises, they shut down, or detach, or go numb, or act like none of it mattered. Not because they feel nothing, usually because they feel too much. But when a fearful avoidant is ready for love, they stop treating rupture like proof the relationship is unsafe and start seeing repair as part of what makes a relationship safe. That is massive. Because mature love is not built by never hurting each other. It is built by returning. Returning with honesty. Returning with ownership. Returning with presence. The disconnecting version sounds like this. I don't want to do this. I'm done talking. Then 3 days of silence. 3 days of guessing. 3 days of emotional freefall. The connecting version sounds like this. I'm flooded right now. And if I keep talking, I'm going to shut down or say something defensive. But I do want to come back to this tonight, because I care about us. That is what repair sounds like. Not perfection, not zero triggers, not never needing space, but someone who can get activated and still stay in the relationship. And that's when your partner stops feeling like a problem to manage and starts feeling like a person you can actually build with. 6. Their need for space becomes honest, not evasive. And here's what changes everything. Most couples hear, "I need space," and instantly feel rejected. And to be fair, sometimes it is rejection. Sometimes space is just distance with better branding. But when a fearful avoidant is becoming ready for love, space stops being a disappearing act and starts becoming a boundary that still protects connection. That's the difference. Because healthy independence does not create confusion, it creates clarity. A fearful avoidant who is not ready will use space to escape emotional accountability. A fearful avoidant who is ready will use space to regulate and then re-enter with more presence. They are not running from intimacy. They are learning how to stay intact inside it. Most couples never get taught that. They think the only proof of love is constant closeness. But real love has rhythm, breath, room. It knows how to pause without threatening the bond. The disconnecting version sounds like this. I just need space. No context, no reassurance, no return time, just distance and an unspoken, deal with it. The connecting version sounds like this. I need a little time to regulate, so I don't go withdrawn on you. I'm not leaving this conversation. I'm going to go for a walk, and I'll call you at 7. That is emotionally available space. And what your heart hears in that moment is, I can have needs without abandoning you. That's the shift that turns a relationship that feels like a negotiation into one that feels like a refuge. So if you're looking at these 6 signs and realizing this isn't really about whether a fearful avoidant feels deeply enough, you're right. It never was. It's about whether they are becoming the kind of person who can stay connected when love stops being abstract and starts becoming real. Whether they can recognize their patterns, whether they can receive care, whether they can repair, whether they can tell the truth about what happens inside them instead of making you live inside the consequences of what they refuse to face. That is readiness. And if you're the one with fearful avoidant patterns, here's the thing. This is not about becoming perfect before you're allowed to be loved. It's about becoming honest enough, regulated enough, and emotionally responsible enough that love no longer has to fight your defenses just to reach you. That changes everything. These are not tips for playing relationships better. They are the beginning of becoming the kind of partner who feels safe to love and safe to be loved by. And that's the real shift. If this hits something real in you, let me know in the comments which signs stood out the most. And if you want more videos on attachment, emotional availability, and how to build a relationship that actually feels like connection instead of confusion, subscribe and stay close.